In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, the one in whom we seek refuge in from our evil actions and from the evil within ourselves. And whomever Allah has guided, no one could mislead. And whomever Allah has led astray, no one can guide. And I bear witness and testify that there is none worthy of worship except Allah, and that Prophet Muhammad is his servant and messenger. My dearly respected brothers and sisters, as you all know, for some Friday sermons, we've been speaking about mannerisms with Allah and the etiquettes that one should have with their Lord and with their messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and with the rest of creation. And we continue in our speech and about the mannerisms and etiquettes that one has with the creation of Allah, the rest of mankind, and especially their own Muslim brothers and sisters. But in order for us to apply what we learn, we have to first value what it is that we have. You know very well that there is nothing that can save you from the punishment of Allah except your Islam. Nothing. No matter how much wealth you amass, no matter how many children you have, no matter how many degrees you hold under your belt, there is nothing that will protect you except for the belief you have in Allah, except for the submission that you have for the command of Allah, the Almighty and the Exalted. If you truly value that, then you will do what is necessary to protect it. If you have something valuable, you just throw it out for others to play and to dirty it, for others to take it and to make it filthy. You protect it, you cherish it, you make sure that it is always polished and looking beautiful. You don't leave it be. Every day we are away from the masjid, from the congregation in salah, from the remembrance of Allah. Every time we're away from these things, know that it is being dirtied. When you spend time in a place where there's no remembrance of Allah, do you think your iman is growing as a result? It's being affected. When you spend time in a place where iman and belief is being brought down and is being neglected, do you think that increases your chances to be safe from the wrath of Allah? It doesn't, by Allah. You have to choose that you've spent enough time in matter chasing after dunya. You have to set some time aside now to cleanse your iman. It needs protection. And if you value it, you will protect it. And if you see something that is against what Allah loves, you stay away from it. You don't continue to stay in the middle of it. And this is a form of da'wah as well. Because you are now helping your Muslim brother. Do you remember in the previous hadith, the previous sermon? He said, help your brother oppressed or an oppressor. He said, how should I help him if he's the oppressor? He said, put your hand over his hand and prevent him and stop him. We cannot do it alone, protect our iman. We need help from one another. We need aid from one another. A way to spread love and cheer is by what the Prophet ﷺ said. He said the best kind of Islam is the one where you feed others. You've eaten, you've had your fill, more than your fill. He said the one where you feed others and you give greetings, salutations, salam, to who you know and who you don't know. Not a single one of us, not a single one of us should walk by the other without saying As-Salamu Alaikum. We shouldn't wait to say, that's my friend, I'm going to give him salam. Who's that? I don't know. And we turn a blind eye to that person like we didn't see him. Say your salam. This is how you're going to grow your iman. Remember about polishing and protecting? This is one of the things. And about food, we said give food and feed others. You know what the Prophet ﷺ said in regards to eating too much. He said there is no vessel worse for the son of Adam than his own stomach. A vessel is something that you put other things in. He said there is no vessel worse than the son of Adam fills than his own stomach. He said it is enough for the son of Adam a few morsels of food so that it can straighten his back. If you're hungry, you'll slouch down. But if you have a few morsels of food, it should be enough to stand upright. Remember in Ramadan, when you have a few bites of food, you're already full when it comes time to break your fast. Why? Because you've eaten less. And when you eat too much, you can't pray, you can't read, you can't worship Allah. Only thing you can do is lay down. You're tired. You can't play with your children. You can't even go for a walk. That's not the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ. And you know dearly that overeating is the cause for so much illnesses, let alone from not being able to worship Allah, but for your own bodies, from high blood pressure, to diabetes, to cholesterol, to all sorts of issues with overeating. The Prophet ﷺ, he continued that same hadith. He said, but if a person has no choice and he continued in eating, then let him split his meal into three. 1/3 for food and 1/3 for water, and the other third so he can breathe. Still leave some space. This is, he said, if you're going to go all out. We passed that one. We passed the first one of just a few morsels of food, and we got to pass the thirds. Just done three-thirds of food. And then the water and the air, we just squeeze it in there somehow. We have plenty of food, wallah. We have plenty of wealth. We just need to learn qana'ah, to be satisfied with what we have. But it's always, we're afraid of maybe where we came from before or where our parents came from. They came from hunger and poverty and lack of shelter. They say, I want better for my child. I want more for my child. Go and work. Go and get a career. Go and become this or become that. Those are good things, to earn a career, to earn a degree. But it's not the point of your life, wallah. The Prophet ﷺ, he taught us many, many things. And we need to apply what we know so that we can start to correct our Islam. Learn these ahadith and memorize them and apply them when you have the chance. Teach them to your children. Just like the Prophet ﷺ seen one of his companions. His hand was all over the plate when they were eating in one large plate together. His hand was going here and was going there. He said, Ya ghulam, kul biyaminika, sammi Allah, wa kul biyaminik, wa kul mimma yalik. He said, oh young boy, he said, mention the name of Allah. Say the name of Allah. Eat with your right hand. And eat from what's in front of you. Teach them. Let them learn. These things, wallahi, they protect your iman. Everything you do. Have you noticed that religion is in everything you do? If you greet somebody, what do you say? As-Salaam alaykum wa rahmatullah. Allah is there. When you separate, you say, wa alaykum as-salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. When somebody praises you or says something nice to you, you say, Jazakallahu khair. You say, Barakallahu feek. Somebody gets married, you make dua for them. It's always Allah is in your life. Just be aware of it. And don't just let it be words on your tongue. But let actually make the dua. When you say Jazakallah khair, don't just say Jazakallah khair only. May Allah grant you good. Actually have in your heart that you made dua for that person. That you had intention that may Allah grant him khair. Even for one small thing, even if they smile for you. Say, MashaAllah, this brother, I was having a bad day and he smiled at me and all my problems went away. Just for one ibtisam, one smile. You'd be amazed at what one smile can do. And it's from the head of the Prophet ﷺ, his guidance. It's a charity. وَابْتِسَامٌ فِي وَجْهِ أَخِيكَ صَدَقَةٌ. A smile on the face of your brother is a charity. There are many, many things. بينما رجل يمشي. The hadith about the man who was walking on the road and he seen a branch with some thorns on it. رأى غصن شوك فأخره فشكر الله له فغفر له. A man was walking down a road and there was a branch with some thorns on it. That man stopped. He moved it, just a branch. Allah was so thankful to him that He forgave him for his sins. He moved one little branch with thorns on it from the path of the Muslims. How many times do we make trouble for our own Muslim brothers? By making things difficult for them. By making their day worse than it already is. Something simple even as blocking them in the parking lot. Many, many things where you can just say, it'll take me this much effort and I might do something to stop my shar, my evil from reaching someone else. The Prophet ﷺ, he loved that we do things with perfection. And he loved that we strive to care for one another and to look after one another. Because when we do good for ourselves and for each other, then that khayr, that good is returned back. When you enter your home, brothers and sisters, you're worried sometimes. You say, I might have jinn in my house. I might have shaitan in my house. Yeah, maybe. Probably true. If there's no remembrance of Allah in your home, then maybe, yeah. This happens on a regular daily basis, that you need to remember the name of Allah there. For the Prophet ﷺ, he said that when a man enters his home and does not remember Allah's name, and does not say or remember Allah when he eats, the shaitan says to his children, he goes, you have a place to stay tonight and some dinner. He's happy. Imagine if you worked all day, 10 hours or 12 hours in that day, only to go home and provide a place for shaitan and his kids to stay because you didn't remember the name of Allah. Only to work and provide food so that you can feed shaitan and his children when you don't remember the name of Allah. If you can't remember, put a sign over your dinner table. It says, Bismillah, Udhkur Allah, something, remember Allah. Take some effort to protect your Islam. It's valuable. He says, but if a person comes into his home and he remembers Allah, shaitan turns to his children and says, there's no place for you to stay tonight. And if he remembers the name of Allah when he eats, he says, and you don't have any dinner tonight either. Imagine if you spent your moments of remembering Allah, being conscious of what you're saying and what you're doing, not just mere actions. Sometimes in salah, you can go through the entire salah and not know what you read or how many times you said Subhanallah or Subhana Rabbil Azim. Or after salah, you're going through the tasbih, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allah Akbar, so quickly, you don't remember how much you've done. Just take a few moments. If all of those things are too difficult, then the very least you can do is ask Allah to forgive you for your sins, just like the Prophet ﷺ used to do. The hadith says, the Prophet ﷺ said, indeed, I ask Allah for forgiveness and repent to Him more than 70 times a day. And in another narration, more than 100 times a day. How hard is it to say, Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh? You can say that throughout the entire day. After every salah, take an extra 30 seconds and say Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh. I ask Allah for forgiveness and I repent to Allah. I ask Allah for repentance, or I ask Allah for forgiveness and I repent to Allah. Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh is very simple. With it, wallah, sometimes you're waiting and you let your mind wander. You let your mind not think about anything but dunya, bills, and everything that comes with it. And if you were to say Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh, not only are you asking Allah for forgiveness and ensuring, by the will of Allah, your entry into paradise through Allah's mercy, but even with istighfar comes rizq, comes sustenance when you ask Allah for forgiveness. Don't you know that sins are sometimes things that prevent rizq from coming to us? When you have sins, they prevent you sometimes from sustenance coming to you. So by you removing that reason of prevention, you can receive more sustenance. May Allah make us from those that strive to uphold this religion. Ameen. May Allah make us from those that are forgiven for their sins and their shortcomings. Ameen. May He make us from those that are in the highest ranks of paradise. Ameen. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى بمنه وكرمه أن يحبب إلينا وإليكم الإيمان وأن يزينه في قلوبنا ويكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا دينا إلا قضيته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا إلا يسرتها يا رب العالمين. اللهم أعن إخواننا المستضعفين في كل مكان وكن عونا لهم ونصيرا لهم واغفر لهم وارحمهم وتب عليهم إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلوا وسلموا على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة.